I erased my MacBook and set it up from scratch for the first time in years. I'm taking you through what you should back up to keep your info safe, what you should customize to make your MacBook easier to use, and tips on how to make the most out of your MacBook when starting over from scratch. When getting ready to erase your Mac, there's some things that you should do to make sure you don't lose any of your data or files. There's some things that sync with iCloud automatically if enabled, like contacts, calendars, photos, iCloud Drive for specific folders, messages, notes, and passwords. But to figure out exactly what you're backing up, go into your system settings, click your name and click iCloud to see full details about what's being backed up to iCloud. When it comes to backing up your data, if you're using a time machine backup, you can skip to the resetting section of this video, but if you're completely wiping your Mac and starting from scratch like I am, continue to follow these steps. First, you'll want an up-to-date list on all of your apps so you know what to install later. To easily do this, go into your Applications folder, hit Command-A to select all of your apps, and then Command-C to copy the list. Next, open a new note or a document, and specifically hit Command plus Shift plus V, or right-click and paste and match style to paste a list of apps as plain text and not the actual applications. Now you have a list to work from when you go to reinstall your apps later. Second, back up your files. You can do this a number of different ways, from cloud storage to another device, but the easiest way I find is to use a hard drive and simply copy any files and folders that I want, like my documents, downloads, and my desktop. But there's a few key things to back up to make sure settings and preferences also move over correctly. The Library Preferences folder stores all of the little customizations of each app. It knows the accounts you're signed into, the layout of certain apps, and your preferences that you've set specifically. This folder is already included in a Time Machine backup if you're using one, but otherwise, let's back it up. Next, there's some specific apps that may have settings that you want to back up. Some common ones that I use are Premiere Pro, which stores all of my past projects, settings, profiles, and my custom layouts, and my workspaces all in the Documents and Adobe folder. I copy the entire folder and back it up just to be safe. Next, I use a Stream Deck, which helps me quickly launch all of my apps and control settings. So to back up my configuration, I open the Stream Deck app, Preferences, right-click my profile and select Export, which gives me a backup file. Finally, I like to remember the exact file and dock configuration, so my last step is to take a screenshot of my desktop with Finder open so that I can see my wallpaper and widgets, my apps in my dock, and my pinned folders in Finder in one easy place. With that, we're ready to reset the Mac. In macOS Tahoe or later, this is way easier to reset now. Go into Settings, General, scroll down to Transfer or Reset, and then finally erase all content and settings. So, here goes nothing, you guys. And with that, my Mac reset itself and I was ready to get started from scratch. So when setting up the new Mac, I set up as new to ensure nothing is copied over. From there, I follow all of the steps to create my profile, and I sign into my Apple account. After a few short steps, we're ready to use the new Mac. The first thing I would do is remove everything Apple puts in my dock and desktop and replace it with all of the apps that I install using the list we created earlier. I would also transfer all of my files back on, including the Library Preferences folder that I mentioned earlier. And now that my Mac is set up, it's time to eliminate wires and simplify my setup. This is the Brydge ProDock Duo, a vertical dock for my Mac that slides into place to instantly be connected to everything I need. Made of a premium aluminum finish that pairs perfectly with my Mac. This dock has a minimal design, packing in an SD card slot and a USB-C port on the side. On the back, you then get 3 Thunderbolt 4 ports that can connect to displays or other accessories, 3 USB-A ports for additional USB accessories up to 10 GB per second, and an Ethernet port for network connection. On the other side, we get a 3.5mm audio plug, all of which is complete with a wireless charger on the front to make your setup more minimal. Plus, you still get access to the additional SD card slot, USB-C, and HDMI on the other side of the MacBook. Say goodbye to plugging in every accessory at your desk and instead just set your Mac into this dock to instantly be connected to your setup. Or easily take it on the go. If you want to simplify your desk setup, use the code below to pick up the ProDock today. So when I'm first setting up my Mac, there's a few key things that I think should be changed to make it easier. First, I go to Trackpad and increase the sensitivity, which just makes it easier to reach all sides of the screen with my trackpad, but that's a personal preference. I also turn on App Expose, so I can see all different windows of a certain app at any time, and I enable 3-finger drag by going into Accessibility, Pointer Control, and enable dragging with 3-finger drag, so I can easily move windows around with just 3 fingers. Next, if you miss seeing all of your applications in Launchpad, which isn't an option anymore, you can easily get a similar approach by opening Finder, going home, and dragging the applications folder into your dock. Now you get a grid that shows you all of your different apps in alphabetical order again. The next thing I would do is set up iPhone mirroring, because not only does it give you access to all of your iPhone apps on your Mac, but it also sends all of your iPhone notifications to your Mac and allows access to all of your iPhone widgets, which you can then place on your desktop, which is super useful. Next, I customize Finder to remove all of the folders that Apple pins and replace it with folders that I actually use. After that, I go to Finder, Show View Options, and make sure Snap to Grid is selected, and then select Use as Defaults. This will make sure that no folders are misaligned, and if moved, it keeps everything clean. I would also go to the top and select Settings, then change the new Finder window from Recent to a folder of something I frequently use, like the desktop folder. Meaning every time I open Finder, it automatically opens to the desktop, and then I can go from there. In Settings, I would also go to Desktop and Dock, and turn off suggested and recent apps in my dock. Then scroll down and turn off tiled windows, have margins, so putting 2 apps beside each other don't leave a gap. Next up is my desktop setup. I start by changing my wallpaper. The one that I'm using right now is from Nomad Goods by going to their site, scrolling down to wallpapers, and finding the one I want. Then right-click and set as wallpaper. Next, we're ready for widgets. You can add widgets from all of your apps, including ones from your iPhone. I like to add a calendar widget, a month widget, a reminders widget, which is customized to show today's due reminders. And then I add a home widget, which I then customize for specific lights around my house. Next, I add a battery widget to keep track of my keyboard and trackpad battery. When it comes to the menu bar, I like to keep things relatively clean, removing things by selecting Command while dragging them out of the menu bar. Then I like to add things like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth for easy access. Then in Settings and Menu Bar, there's a few options that I have turned on, but only show up when active, like Focus Mode, Screen Mirroring, Display and Now Playing, to show my current music. It's a simple solution to keep things minimal while I work. But I saved some of the more advanced options for the Control Center. Most people don't know this, but you can actually have multiple Control Center drop-downs if you want them by selecting Edit and then hitting the plus at the top. So I have one for my connectivity toggles, and then I have another one for my home controls. For connectivity, I like to have some of the basics: Wi-Fi, Focus, Now Playing, AirDrop, Stage Manager, Screen Mirroring, Dark Mode, Calculator, a Screen Capture button, Screen Recording button, and then my display brightness and sound. Finally, I add custom shortcuts, including my coffee shop playlist, which plays my playlist on shuffle and asks me which zone of the house to play from. My Change Speakers option is a very similar widget, which toggles the destination of my music. After that, I create an additional control center for my home, which then I customize with all of my custom home accessories to make it really useful at any time. This creates a really custom experience that limits my need to pick up my phone when I'm on my Mac. Finally, after everything is done, I like to set up Time Machine to continuously back up my Mac so I don't need to go through this process again for a very long time. For that, I'm using network attached storage, which is my WD MyCloud ext4, which connects to my network for the secure backup of my Mac. Once it's set up, I go to Settings, General, Time Machine, add a new location which immediately recognizes the NAS, and then starts to create my first backup. This keeps everything backed up weekly, so I don't have any data loss over time. So that's my guide on setting up my MacBook from scratch, from what to back up, how to reset everything, and easily put everything back on, the first things I would change, and the customizations I make to my Mac to make the most of it. But if you want to improve all of your devices, check out the videos on setting up my iPhone from scratch or setting up my iPad from scratch on the channel now. I've also got a guide which shows my iPad mini, which controls my smart home on the channel now. As always, thank you so much for watching and for Brydge for sponsoring this video, and I will see you in the next one.